Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. This is the From the Depths designer, the new designer, and not a news item here, but the R&D group for Dell's Navy, actually Dell's Air Force, came back to me with a couple of new designs because I came up to them and said, okay, what have we got that we can use against the next possible enemies? Now, I haven't done a campaign video, but it's looking most likely that we'll be going up against the Onyx Watch, which means big metal ships to blow up, basically, and be blown up by. So anyway, the Air Force said their fighters are of little value against the big metal behemoths, but they suggested a range of bombs which could be useful and need testing for potential anti-Onyx Watch use. So they've come up with a few designs and the new rotary 2TS engine, which is a turbo supercharged engine able to sustain its maximum power almost indefinitely as long as fuel lasts. So they've suggested putting this all together in an aircraft to basically drop these new weapons on the Onyx Watch. So I'm going to be building a bomber. That's the aim today. Now, no big history because this isn't really based on anything specific, so we won't have me waffling on for ages and ages just about bombers and history, blah blah, etc etc, and everyone goes, yay, that's good. But I will be talking through the build at stages. I'll be halting and talking through various parts because it has been, yeah, I've had quite a few questions about aircraft. So obviously aircraft is an awkward vehicle basically for some people. It's not an obvious build as easy as ships basically, and people have problems setting up and building aircraft, it would seem. So this will be a bit of a build at the same time as not a tutorial. I hate saying tutorial, I'm not that good, but just how I do it, let's put it that way. So the basic design I'm going to be going for is primarily, I'm going to follow the sort of rough design of the old 4-engine bombers, World War II style, you know, early World War II, etc., and put something with a significant payload, let's put it that way, and see how we go from there. I think that will be the aim of the build. No real proper design. It's going to be, I haven't sketched this out totally beforehand. Quite often I will sketch out a design a little bit in when I say sketch it out, I will sort of do a little bit of work, and I didn't put the mirror line on there, have some ideas, do some testing, and I haven't really done that on this one, so it's going to be a bit more just going winging it really, and see what we come out with at the end, but following good basic principles we should end up with something that's reasonable. Anyway, so some of this will be sped through. Now, one thing I'll say straight away is I'm using a lot of alloy here, and I use alloy. I don't like using metal. Although it's got more health and armour, it's just too heavy. It makes trying to balance and make the aircraft fly quickly and high more awkward. Alloy is so much nicer to use in the long run, because although it's not as much what's the right word I'm trying to think of here, it's not as much protection, it works out being a lot lighter and easier to build the plane. And you can build like maybe 2 or 3 planes for it, and there'll be better planes. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, I will get the most body done, and then we will look at some of the balancing issues and control issues that people have with aircraft. This is the start of the section on control surfaces and controlling a plane. Now here I'm starting with the elevators, and I do like using pitch only elevators, but the primary is I'm putting everything in line with the center of mass of the ship. If anything is not in line with the center, you will get weird control effects. So and also I'm using quite a lot of elevators to get good control authority. I find that is important from the depth ships. Now with the rudders, again I'm using yaw only rudders, and if I put one above the center of mass, I put the one below. Otherwise what happens is you roll at the same time as yawing, so you need to make sure it's balanced. You can do it other ways, but you have to allow for the yaw and roll effect of these particular parts. So I'm just checking to make sure everything is in line with the center of mass. So next here I'm looking at the ailerons, which control your roll, and again I'm putting them at the ends of the wings to get the maximum amount of control authority, but I'm also making sure that they are in line with the center of mass. Again, if you don't put these in line with the center of mass, when it tries to control the roll, it will also cause the nose to go up or down. You know, it will control the pitch at the same time. I find putting too many ailerons, I will say this now, on a wing or a ship causes it to wobble. So I like to use enough but not too many ailerons. Next is the wing component, which got a big buff, so you do not need too many wings blocks on a ship to generate lift. Now I'm looking at the center of mass again, and I'm actually putting the center of lift slightly behind the center of mass rather than in front. Normal aircraft you would put them in front. From the depths I find it has a problem causing the nose to go down, and you want it to in general have a nose down attitude, and then use the amount of elevators to help bring it up. So that tends to stop it going up into space in general. Finally is the AI control. So I'm adjusting it from the defaults, and I want this to be a level bomber fairly high, so I'm trying to set an initial test height of around 300 and then a level about the same. Did muck up the sliders a little there, so I did adjust this in the final to be much higher using control blocks, but for the purposes of the flight it was enough. Now I'm setting the deviation for yaw at 5 because I want it to fly directly over the target, and I don't want too much of a roll on a big ship like this, so changing it to 70. I didn't change other things because that was a good starting point I found. And now for the first flight, if I have got this all correct. So I've turned the control view on so I can see what's acting on the system, and it's nosing up, which is good, but it's not gaining any height. And I'm thinking, okay, do I need more power? Then I realized I hadn't given any fuel for the engines, so the propellers weren't turning at full power. So quickly give some fuel on the ship so that the engines will actually turn on. And now we're getting a good altitude, good lift, a good speed, 50, which will be more than adequate. So now what I'm checking to do is how much wobble have we got, and will it hold the 300 height. So it went above and now it's coming down slowly. But it's good, but it's got a bit of a wobble, I think, at the moment. That's what was my thinking. So I went for the mirror line and then took out some of the ailerons just to reduce the wobble a little bit, and I'll replace them with the heli blades later on. So next I'm looking at the lift, and I think that it's still, the lift is actually going a bar in front of the mast now, so I want to pull it back. Now I had added a couple of extra wings, so I take out those extra wing parts and you can see the lift has now gone behind the mast again, and we're nosing down quite happily, coming down to the 300 mark, just above the mark we'd put in the AI. So now we can adjust it to try a higher height and see if it will hold a height nearer to that space level, which if it doesn't go down here, it will just go up into the thousands and you lose the craft. So we're heading up and it is nosing over and the height altitude is coming back down again, so that's a good sign that this will potentially not just run off into space. So everything is balanced on the center of mass on this aircraft. If you don't balance it on the center of mass, you will have problems, and it is a much more complex build you're looking at. And welcome back to the handling page, as I've called it at the moment. I haven't tested it too much, but it's got a few little tests that need to be done, so we'll run a few examples just to see what it performs like, and I'll need to give it a bit of a paint. Now it's a little open. The wing design is okay. The shape got a little thicker than I wanted, so I might just redesign that a little bit, but otherwise I'm sort of happy with the way that this turned out. Now it is a pure bomber. There's no defensive armaments on here at all, except for a flare, just in case. I thought about it and I thought, well, the enemies we're up against, they don't have any flyers, so the only thing that's going to be coming after me is missiles. So maybe flares is all I will need. I did add a few extras in there, like the wheels, and there is some shields to cover the bomb bay and the main cockpit. I haven't coloured them yet, so I'll do that later. At the moment they're there so I can see them. So they turn off with the control box automatically. If there's no enemies around, then they'll turn back on again to reflect mode if there's an enemy within range. I had a bit of fun with the control blocks. All the new settings on them is a little interesting. Setting those all up to work. A little bit different, but it worked in the end. Some interesting options available just to make things work a little bit nicer. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to release this so that it can fly again. Bear with me 1 second. So we're flying around. We should fly roughly 300 to 400 feet in cruising mode, so it's just trying to gain some altitude, I think, at the moment. The wheels have come up and towed away, so we'll just give ourselves a little combat, like a bastion. So shields come on. Now it should try and climb hopefully up to about 500 feet, 550, which is its main protection, is the height and speed that it flies at, not really the shields. The shields are there to give a little extra, but it's mainly the fact that it flies at quite a high altitude. Now we've got the little platform in there, so the bastions must be going to be attacking that. So this will just be a quick little test of the effectiveness of those APN bombs which I have loaded up. Oh, he is firing at me and he's missing so far, luckily. Now the bombs away. Now I did have to set some timings to ensure that they all exited out. They didn't quite all exit out. That is one of the issues I am working on, so we'll have another look at that. So we're giving that another go after I changed the arming delay on the missiles. So let's see if they all exit this time. They seem to have all exited, which is good, and they should all come down quite nicely on the target, which is good. At the moment they are just infrared guided APN, so just go for hot pass, and that did it in one go. So that just one-shotted a bastion. So I think they work against okay, against metal, which was the other bit I was checking. So good. That was a one pass. I think you get a fleet of these in would be quite good. I could use ejectors on the bomb release. That would help, but I think that would push the missiles too far towards the water. I need them just to come out so that they will activate guidance and then seek the target. So I just increased the arming delay. Size of this, it ended up being 16K, which is, you know, there's a lot of alloy here. Now if I wanted to save some resources, I could change a lot of this for wood actually, but I've gone this alloy route, so what the heck. It is unarmoured, well, not unarmoured, unarmed, so that is a deficiency for it, but otherwise I'm reasonably happy with it. I'll also be hopefully added some commentary about how I set it up to fly. It fly just about first time with the setup. If you saw that in the video, hopefully I left that in. First flight it was going up and running, because it's just about we're setting up the mass to lift and getting it just right and not too heavy, and some of it's just I guess what a feeling, but my feeling was right. Anyway, this is a bomber for a first strike capability against the Onyx watch, so that should be quite interesting. So hopefully see that in campaign. May do one other more build. I'm thinking of maybe something to help the Nelsons out, maybe a slightly upgraded version of the frigate that's a little bit more anti-Onyx watch, and or a sub which is a little bit more anti-Onyx watch. I don't know which one you'd prefer, which one would be good. I was thinking more going for ships rather than subs against the Onyx watch, but well, aircraft and ships. Maybe subs is a bit of a easy route for the Onyx watch because they don't have any defences and any way to attack subs, so theoretically I could just build a sub and take the whole of the Onyx watch out, but I think I'd rather see some battles with some ships and big guns and stormy seas, etc. Anyway, that's it for now. Please click that like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Any suggestions, always welcome. I'm sure I did things wrong and different to other people, but what the hey. Above all, enjoying now the new version, and this plane, no stutters. So haven't had a stutter with this one, so there's something about ships making it stutter. But oh, I've got a stutter. I'm to start stuttering when I speak soon. Anyway, above all, play the game, have fun.